Pat Serriman still in the game, just dropping down to loser side. Absolutely fantastic showcase from both the players. I mean, between the adaptation that Shuton was able to provide, slowing down the pace, despite Pat Serriman trying to use these aerials around his shield, but trying to space it out, it wasn't enough. Even though he was trying to bait out the up smashes, Shuton was just able to basically run amok on Pat Serriman.
Indeed, of course. So next, we have the bracket up once again. Of course, we're going to be moving down to the loser side of things. Zackray versus Ken, and Raito versus Shiki. Now, of course, Zackray versus Ken, not exactly a set that a lot of people would have expected to see in losers top 8. These two players, two of the highest ranked players in Japan, I believe, numbers 1 and 3 respectively. Incredibly talented. And of course, they did bow out earlier to both Kome and T respectively.
Yeah, I don't think people were able to recognize the fact that Kome took out Zackray, sending him to losers, and then Ken being sent to losers by T. Definitely caught off guard there yesterday. But Zackray now having to fight Ken. Do believe they've played once, actually rather recently, at a weekly called Smash Party SP45. It was in Zackray's favor, 2-1. I do believe, though, overall, in the entirety of Ultimate, Zackray has Ken's number with 10 sets over Ken's 4 sets on Zackray. So this is not even half on Zackray's side. It's absolutely dominating on his results over Ken.
Very much so. And of course, we know that Zackray has a plethora of characters under his belt, but I believe throughout this entire weekend he has been sticking with the Rob and the Joker in this game. In his first game, it seems like he's going to be starting off with that Rob, with the robot that has been taking him so far as of late. And Rob is another interesting case, very similar to Pac-Man, a character that received a plethora of quality of life changes and buffs that have just improved him a lot and made him a much more well-rounded character. Still very big, vulnerable and disadvantaged, but having an improved landing lag on the aerials, having that much bigger nair, having that drastically improved side B, comes out faster and he can combo into it now. A real threat in the current meta. We see this character consistently being played at high and top level now.
Yeah, Zackray overall just has a solid lineup of characters. Of course, as you mentioned, mainly playing Rob now, but he has Pocket, Game & Watch, Mario. We've seen his Wolf, of course, about a year ago when we discovered how great of a player Zackray was when he made the top 8 at Genesis. We've seen his display of Wario, Pokemon Trainer, Lucina, and even recently winning a Big House, playing 7 different characters at that tournament. There's no surprise why he is ranked #1 here in Japan.
Absolutely crazy player, the young blood here up on the rise in Japan. I remember, I believe it was like Renai a while ago, he said that, this was around the time when Renai was kind of viewed as one of, if not the best in Japan. He was like, it's not actually me, it's this kid Zackray, watch out for him. And we saw towards the end of Smash 4 that meteoric rise that he made up until the top echelon of the Smash 4 Japanese players.
We were warned, we had to listen. Of course, playing against Ken. Ken, another player that we've seen a lot in the States. Probably the best Sonic in the world with numbers on Leo. And Zackray himself, Zackray still with that winning set. Here we go, the game 1. First match of losers bracket.
On the other side of the spectrum, Sonic went from being an absolute top tier threat in this game to kind of falling off a little bit. A lot of his representatives lost some faith in him, but that did not deter Ken. Ken still an absolute juggernaut here in Japan, going solo Sonic. The fastest thing alive versus the last one of its kind.
Trying to call it the jump with the bear. Zackray already keeping Ken by the ledge. Of course, Ken also a player who does not mind trying to use his platforms to his advantage to try to force you to approach him. Extremely patient player.
I feel like the difficult thing for Ken in these matchups is when he's at the close to mid-range, how does he really deal with Rob's various boxing options? It's a bit tricky because Sonic, despite his mobility and his movement speed, doesn't have the fastest set of buttons in the world. How does he contest stuff like that Rob down tilt, that Rob fair? It's a little bit tricky right there, of course. Zackray stuffing out the spin dash with that down tilt. And again, seeing him drag him to the stage.
Taking him across the stage with the down tilt and the column, using the up smash, punishing Ken for trying to recover back to the stage horizontally up high.
Superb use of that up smash by Zackray right there. And we saw throughout this entire bracket, Ken making such good use of that spin dash, making his movement so effective. But Zackray at the moment just feels like he has a number on it. But Ken in the edge guard situation, Love the high recovery.
Yep, the great recovery, trying to mix up to try to get that ledge invincibility. Ken trying to get that mix up, crossing up on the shield with the fair. I like the patience, but look at his shield. The shield definitely not looking too hot. The patience being displayed by both these players with the respect of just holding shield right in front of one another.
Love the interception again with that fair.
Yeah, Zackray doing a really good job at stuffing out these spin dash attempts. Oh, but the gyro actually clipping him by the ledge too. Not gonna be able to get much off of it.
Trying to go for the empty jump grab there, but again, Zackray's defense at the moment has just been so strong. Ken has had a really hard time finding his way around it. Lovely forward smash right there, though.
Yeah, having to close out that stock right there. So he's already at 72%. Having to turn up the aggression. Zackray doing such a good job at just moving himself around Ken.
And notice where Zackray is placing these gyros. He's kind of forcing Ken to go over them, and then in doing so, he's able to funnel him and intercept him at these points.
Yeah, right there too. You saw that. He just had the gyro charged up. Goes for the up tilt. Not going to follow up with the up air, but does get the snipe with the gyro.
Easy for him to get that reactively, thanks to where Ken has positioned himself. But a nice combo coming up from Ken. Racking up a good chunk of damage right there. Trust me, that's going to be a hard punish. Good up throw. Excellent interception.
Into the fair.
Doesn't go for the side B though.
No, instead Ken does manage to air dodge past that though and get back onto the ledge.
Again, the pressure. Sonic really just doesn't have an out shield option to deal with those down tilts on shield.
Yeah, he kind of has to take that. The gyro stuffing it out, and the follow-up from the gyro into the up smash.
Very nice from Zackray. For those who don't know how the gyro works, it sends the opponent the way that Rob was facing when he drops it or when he throws it. So, of course, Zackray did the turnaround right there to make Ken come in towards him, and he gets an easy combo into the up smash. Excellent stuff from Zackray right there. Real dominant showing in that game, you know, despite how well Ken has been playing throughout this entire bracket. Zackray just kind of making that statement right there.
Yeah, Zackray always been a very consistent player when it comes to his conversions. His gyro placement, as you mentioned, really important to see how he's just forcing Ken to try to jump around it, especially by the ledge. We go to this game 2 though. Remember, this is loser's side of top 8. Immediately going for that grab, dealing so much percent. We're falling right out of that up air, only getting that first hit.
Ken taking this to smash roll again. A lot of this set is going to be how well does Ken play around the gyro, how well does he place his movement around Zackray's defense and get these hits. So far in this game, he's doing a much better job. He's converting into so much damage. So many nairs connected so far.
Absolutely, but Zackray's now finally his way back. A gyro actually, no, but he tries to use the side B. Ken still managing to come back. Was dealing so much damage. Uses the platform to extend to get back onto the stage. Great way to mix up Zackray. Definitely moving around and breaking the ankles.
Trying to go for the spring there. Just going to read a jump potentially from Zackray. Still though, very comfortable lead for Ken at the moment. Again, tries to go for the chase, but Zackray definitely avoiding it.
Does not get the follow from the up tilt into the up air. Oh, but the follow from the gyro into the fair. Ken still living, and wow! Despite being down percentage-wise, Zackray still managed to take the first stock on Ken.
That was such a superb interception, a really good edge guarding sequence, but the combo from the spin dash into the nair is going to seal out Zackray's first stock.
Ken getting a lot of these nairs this time around.
Right, I like that from Ken. One of the things that you can do with Rob's gyro is to throw it upwards because it's so floaty. It stays in the air for such a long time and it's out of commission for Rob to use.
That double-edged tool when it comes to projectiles, being able to capitalize that yourself against your opponent. Just managed to catch that. So that rising nair, we've been seeing that a lot to try to call out Zackray's jumps.
Up tilt, such a good move to kind of poke on platforms, especially since Rob can combo out of that into the up air.
And Zackray noticing that Ken is retreating to these platform a lot too. The down tilt, catching him by the ledge.
Ken having a really hard time making his way out of the corner. Finally gets a hit, but still, center stage is Zackray's.
Blasting that laser right there, right in front of Ken's face, going all the way to the other side of the Smashville. Oh, he called out the double roll from the ledge and the grab. Fantastic reaction from Zackray.
Yeah, just superb response coming out from Zackray right there. Now this is potentially Ken's last stop of the tournament. If he doesn't make some magic happen right now, he really needs to dig deep and get this KO as soon as possible.
Who does get the up tilt into the up air. Again, punishing the attempt on the spin charge right there. Well, this gyro play coming from Zackray.
Just creating this wall, just deterring Ken from wanting to make his way in.
Narrowly missing that down air. Ken using the rising bear to punish Zackray to get back. Tries to call out the jump and almost getting hit by the back air. Ken, though, getting sent to the other side. The forward tilt going to do it.
Yeah, weaves his way in, snuck under, and able to get that KO. Ken still in this game. If he's able to make this comeback, that'll be quite the mountain. Right, off stage and in the corner, though, he needs to generate some advantage, and that falling up air is a good way to start, but immediately reversed by Zackray. Up tilt into up air. Is that going to be it? No, great DI coming out from Ken.
Yeah, still living here. We almost saw the same situation, but the get-up attack by the ledge leading up to the up smash out of shields.
And so often at the ledge right there, we saw Zackray go for those down tilts, commit to those down tilts to try keep poking at Ken at the ledge, and the one time he decided to sit in shield, he had the correct bait right there. Excellent stuff to Zackray. Ken bowing out at 7th place, and Zackray will be moving on.
Yeah, 7th place, nonetheless. Of course, 2 out of 3. Fantastic showcase that we had from Ken and Zackray. And with that first match of loser side already done, having our first 7th place standing right there. You guys don't go anywhere. We are going currently to a break.